righty, so who thinks it's difficult to do business in the great state of California? Does California make it easy for you to actually do business? Well, they have introduced a brand new law which took effect this year, May 1st. It's in effect right now, and it's going to make your life a little more harder. Thank you, California, right? Right. So this is appropriately titled today's topic. It is about don't get bit by the snake. Now, the threat is always going to be internal. And what do I mean by that? Who here is in business for themselves? Wow, look at that. And who actually hires people to work for you? A couple of you here, yeah, perfect. And do you know the distinction between an employee and independent contractor?
Yes.
Thank you, yes, because if you know, my job is done and I'm going to head on out. But yes, yes.
It's our business to know.
It is your business to know, yes. And so if and when you do get sued, and trust me, every business owner in California at some time in their life will get sued. And not necessarily going to court, but you will probably get sued, say, by the labor board. Why? Because the person that you hired and you thought were an independent contractor, and you treated them like an independent contractor, now all of a sudden they've gone to the labor board and they've said, well, we were an employee. Okay, so why does California care? Why do they care if you have a employee or independent contractor?
Payroll taxes. They want their taxes.
They want money. Oh, by the way, did you know? Exactly. California is bankrupt. Did you know that? So they're coming after businesses and they're doing random audits, right? Random audits, they'll just show up at a business and they'll demand to see paperwork. So as business owners, your number one thing is to make sure that you are on top of things, at least know the basics of law. You don't have to go to law school. That's why I'm here. I truly do love what I do. I have been practicing for 16 years now, and I've really learned from the best of the best. And I'm not just an attorney, I am actually a business owner too. So I understand your pain, right? From starting a business, growing a business, eventually trying to sell the business, and in between trying to avoid the pitfalls. Two reasons why a business will fail. One is you don't have enough money. People run out of money. You don't plan accordingly. And the other reason is legal. So what's wrong with laws? Time's up.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the lawyers, right, life would be so much easier. Really. So today, again, I'm going to be sharing with you some really important information that you need to take with you and actually start implementing it. A little bit about me. I've been in practice for 16 years. I've had my own firm going on 9 years now. I'm going to be in practice for 10 years. That's a huge milestone to be in business. How many people have been in business here for 5 years? That's pretty impressive. 10 years? Wow, look at that. 15? I have made it my mission, right? I have made it my mission to educate business owners. I don't care if you are just starting a business. I don't care if you are self-employed, a sole proprietor, a C Corp, S Corp. I don't care. If you're in business, you're in business, and you need to arm yourself with knowledge. Before I go on, I actually host a podcast, and it is called Go Legal Yourself. There is a free app on your app stores. I would highly, highly recommend you download that and listen to episode 32. Episode 32. You can listen to it on Spotify as well, and iTunes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if you want to contact me directly, leave me some feedback, ask me to answer questions, in upcoming episodes, the app's the best way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Highly recommend that. Go Legal Yourself. Yeah. Highly recommend that.
32, you said?
Yep, episode 32. So Go Legal Yourself is all about knowing the legal life cycle of your business, right? So when you go on vacation, do you plan or do you just pack your bags and off you go? So when you start a business, aren't you going to plan, or are you just going to wake up one day and say, okay, I have my computer now, I've got my iPhone, right? I'm off to work. You're going to plan for it. So your business actually has a legal life cycle, not just a life cycle. So it starts, right? How many ways can you start a business? One. That's it, you start. One way to start a business. Then you grow that business, and eventually you want to sell that business for millions. I'm going to sell this for millions one day. Right? So that's the goal. I mean, why else are you in business? You want your business to pay for your retirement. How many ways can you sell your business? Multiple ways, exactly. But yet, business owners don't even think about the exit phase at all. This book is a plain, simple guide. You don't have to go to law school to understand it. You don't have to pull out a thesaurus to understand it. It is in plain English. It's an easy read, and it's a guide for business owners to actually avoid some of the pitfalls that California imposes on you. As I was saying, May 1st, this law is actually in effect, right? So they are classifying now independent contractors differently than they did in April of this year, or March of this year, right? Or February. So this is the brand new law that you need to be aware of. This is the case. Who likes to read legal opinions?
Well, yeah, in my sleep.
Of course, right?
My lawyer does.
I do. I love reading legal opinions. This is that case right there. That is the law right now. It's 83 pages. Who would like to read it? Right. I could stand here and read it to you.
No, that's okay.
But I'm going to fall asleep, so that's not going to work. I've taken the liberty to abbreviate this just for you, right? So 83 pages, and we're going to go through it in the least boring possible way that we can, okay? Because I know the topic of law is really sexy. I mean, it's right up there, with making films and stuff. So stick with me, stay with me, and we'll go through it together. And please, if you have questions, raise your hands. So this new law has put into effect an ABC test. But before we go to the ABC test, the old law is still in effect.
That's hilarious.
So let me say that one more time. This new law is an ABC test, and each part you have to pass as the business owner or the person hiring. In addition to the old law that is still in effect. Now, the state of California, right? So you have your EDD, you have your IRS, you have your, name some California entities. Thank you. Labor Board. Okay. There you go. That's the big one. Yes. And do you think that they've actually gotten together and they have actually defined what an independent contractor is?
Probably.
Absolutely not. Each one of them have their own definition. And you, as the business owner, needs to know all of this.
It's just getting a hold of them on the phones. They can't even do that.
No, there you go. They are bankrupt, by the way. And they're coming after you for money. Okay, so let me go over the old law with you. Okay, if you have these factors, it's a multi-test factor. If you have these factors as a business owner, you should be okay. Now, the case, these were decided by the court in the case of Bagla. You don't need to go and read that case because I have made it easy for you because that's what I do. So you need to be able to answer these questions, okay? Whether the person performing services is engaged in a business distinct from the principal. Okay, that sounds really boring, doesn't it? What that basically means is if you are the hiring person and you hire me as an attorney to do legal work for you, am I an independent contractor or your employee?
Independent contractor.
Absolutely. Now, if you hire Richard back there and he does exactly the same thing that you do, is he an independent contractor or an employee? According to that, he's an employee, right? That's exactly. If if the court was deciding your case based on number one alone, he's your employee. What does that mean? That means that you have to pay payroll taxes. Whether or not the work is part of a regular business, like Eric was just saying, you do production and you hire someone to do the lighting in the production, it's still part of the same business, employee. Whether the principal meaning the person that's hiring, supplies the tools, right? Whether you supply the camera or whether you supply the lights or whether you have the lighting person come in and manipulate your lights, employee. Whether or not, like I said, the person you're hiring has already gone out and purchased their own equipment and brings that to you, even though you're doing the same, in the production world. If you need someone to adjust your lights, they can bring their equipment, then that's questionable, right? Now we're going into the independent contractor realm. So special skills, as Eric was saying, does this person have special skills that you don't have? So if Eric doesn't do lighting at all, but he does other things, then that's considered a special skill. Again, you're going into the independent contractor realm, right? So whether the work was done under the direction of a supervisor. So now Eric, you hire this person to do lighting, they know how to change the lighting and what have you, but you start saying to him, okay, now I want you to, move the lighting over here. Now when this person comes on stage, flash the light there. And I'm using technical video terms, right? I think. So now you're going back into directing. Okay. Now we're going back, moving away from the independent contractor side back to the employee. So it's tricky. And whether the worker can make a profit or not. So if you say, if you can come and help me, and if we sell X amount of books and you get a commission from that, that's them making a profit. Employees normally don't make a profit, so that would be an independent contractor. Okay, the length of the time that you're hiring someone. When you hire an employee and they leave, then you hire an independent contractor and they leave. So in this scenario, which out of the two has the right to leave without any consequences? Employee or independent contractor?
Employee.
Contract, it's right to work. So they both would be in the clear.
Contractors usually gonna have a contract.
Oh,
Contract, right? They're under contract. They better be under contract. If you are doing business with workers, I'm just going to call them workers for now. If you are doing business with any worker that's helping you, number one thing you really need to have in place with them is an independent contractor agreement. I don't care, it can be 20 pages long, it can be 1 page long, but have something in writing with them. The other thing is, if the independent contractor goes to the labor board and says, well, I didn't get paid and I was treated as an employee, then that 1 page independent contractor agreement that you signed or the 20-page agreement you signed is going to come into question. And each and every word is going to be analyzed by the labor commissioner. So please, what I'm saying is don't go onto Google and download a form from the internet and use that form, because it will get you in trouble. You'd be better off not using it than actually using that internet drafted form. Contractors are under contract, right, to perform work. If they don't perform work, then you as the business owner has the right to sue them for breach of contract. Employees are not under contract to work. They can leave. A client of mine, before she became my client, she had probably about $500,000 in her retirement account. Her financial planner said to her, well, I would love for you to invest that in the property that I'm buying in Hawaii, and we're going to turn it into a rental property, and I'll be able to pay you back. My client was a trusting person. I mean, who would even think of getting ripped off by your own financial planner, right? Attorneys, I understand, but come on, financial planners? So this was her retirement, right? $500,000. She worked for 25 years. This was her retirement. So she obviously said yes. They used a downloaded form, and the form had no protections in there for the client. It didn't say when she was going to get paid, if she was going to get paid, whether the payment, the money was actually secured by any type of collateral, nothing at all. And this was the form that you get from the internet. Plus, the jurisdiction was Wyoming. Who's going to go to Wyoming to defend this contract? So you really have to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you have to read the contract before you say, oh, here it is.
And especially with the length of time as well. In some of these contracts that I've seen that are downloadable, they talk a lot about, well, you know, at will employment, right? If you use an at will language in your independent contractor agreement, that person now just became an employee.
Yep.
Plus the length of time, right? Are they going to be with you for 1 year? Is it an open contract? If it's an open contract, they're an employee. So you've got to really be careful as to what you're using. And the way you pay them too. Never, ever, ever, ever pay an independent contractor hourly. Ever. So Eric, if you were going to hire Richard over there and you're going to say to Richard, oh, hey, Richard, I need you to help me with this big, massive project I'm doing in Hollywood. And can you, bring your equipment? And I just need you for, I don't know, 2 days, and maybe each day we're going to work about 5 hours. Right? So you're paying him by the hour. As soon as you mention hours, Richard just became your employee. You pay by the job. You pay by the project. So whether or not the parties believed they were creating an employer-employee relationship, what does that mean? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You can actually have an independent contractor agreement with your independent contractor. And then that person goes and says to the labor board, I wasn't paid, right? Even though we have an independent contractor agreement in place, I wasn't paid. Under the new law, they don't even look at whether you have a signed independent contractor agreement. It's the way you treat that person. I know I'm saying one thing and then I'm contradicting it, right? But as business owners, you need to protect your bums. Now, this is the brand new law, in addition to the 11 multi-part tests that we just went through, okay? A, B, C. So A, the worker is free from the control and direction of the hirer in connection with the performance of the work. So as freelancers, as directors, you do a lot of directing, hence director, right? And so if you're on a production, you're at a production and you've hired a couple of independent contractors to help you out, and you're saying, okay, I need you to go over there. This is how you use that equipment. I need you to do the lighting over here. You're directing. Under this law, they're employees. This is the brand new law, by the way. So the B part of the test is the worker performs the work that is outside the usual course of business. Okay, so I have a law firm and I hire Richard to do some marketing for me. And I tell Richard, what type of marketing I want. I want to be marketed as the queen of business law. I want you to go out and market me that way. Now, is he going to be a employee of mine, or is he going to be an independent contractor?
So far, contractor.
Contractor, absolutely. Because my business as a lawyer, I practice law. And what I'm hiring Richard to do is marketing, independent contractor, right? And this is part C of the test. The work is customarily engaged in an independent established occupation or business. So your plumber, is your plumber going to be an employee or independent contractor? Contractor, right? It's an established trade, plumbing. Your lawyer, independent contractor or employee? Contractor. What happens if your independent contractor is found to be an employee? By the way, the Labour Board Commissioner, they find the person filing as an employee, they'll treat them as an employee. The burden is on you as the business owner to defend yourself. How messed up is that? When did that get turned around? Right? This is how California treats business owners. So why do they want to treat them as employees? This is why. They want money. And these are all the taxes they can hit you with. Plus, as an employee, employees are protected species, right? They get breaks. For every hour, what have you, they get a 10-minute break, right? And then for every 3 or 4 hours, they get an hour or half an hour lunch. Well, if they were found as an employee and they've been working for you for a year, that could really put you back. That could bankrupt you. And trust me, I have seen businesses go bankrupt just because of this. Just because of this. Okay, so the right way to hire an independent contractor, right? This is exactly why you're here, and this is what you need to take away today. They must own their own business. Anyone that comes to you and says, I'm an independent contractor, I can do the editing for you. As the business owner, the very first thing you're going to ask them is, do you own your own business? Well, what does that mean? I work for myself. Owning your own business is, are you incorporated? This book, like I said, it's going to be the best $20 you have spent in your entire life. This walks you through the different types of incorporations and what you need to do as business owners. So ask them, are you incorporated? Corporations, are you a limited liability company? Are you a S Corp? Are you a C Corp? If they have a fictitious business name, are they incorporated? No. When you show up to a big business and say, look, I can do all of your editing for you, right? And this is who I am. So you give them your business card, and your business card better have your corporation established on there, either an LLC or an Inc. They're going to pay attention to you. You're going to give them your contract, your independent contract. You're going to give them that. You're going to give them a W-9. So prepare all of this, put it in a package, take it to them, they'll hire you. If you don't have any of this, they're not even going to look at you. So really, as independent contractors, it just makes sense for you to incorporate. The whole purpose of incorporating is to protect your personal assets, right? Plus, you get a bonus now. You actually get to do business with the big guys. And guess what the big guys have? They have money. Who loves money? I love money, by the way. So they have money, right? If you are a sole prop, you're not going to get looked at. Do yourself a favor. If you really want to work for yourselves, go incorporate. Act like a business. Trust me, you'll get the business. Okay, make sure you have they have their own equipment. Now, I'm talking to you as you are the business owners. You are the people that are hiring, okay? So you need to make sure that the person you're hiring at least is incorporated some level. If this is what they do for a living, if this is something that they do for 2 months out of the year, what does that say to you? Move on, try to find the next person. It's not their business. This isn't something that they want to do. So they have to use their own equipment. You have to use your own equipment, okay? Big panties, yes. If you're going to go out and put your big panties on, right, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to run my own business. Well, with that comes the entire risk as well. And the only way you can mitigate that risk is if you arm yourself with knowledge. That's what I'm saying, right? If you're going to hire someone, they better have this in order for you to be found 100% guilty-free. If they don't have this and you give them the equipment, they have every right to be treated as an employee, period. As far as litigation goes, it's more sided with the employee rather than you. The state sees it as you wanted to go out and do business by yourself. Then you are big enough to take the risk as well. That's how they see it. Did you know less than 14% of the entire state of America own their own business? it really takes pearls to own your own business. It really does. Not everybody can go out and own their own business. Why? Because of this. Why? Because of this. Not everyone is made to own their own businesses, but if you are out there and you are serious about running your business, you better run it like this. You better be incorporated. You better have your own equipment. Who has a business card? Did you know you can get 500 business cards for like $10? Vistaprint, by the way. So, for God's sake, protect yourselves if you're going to go into business. If you're not going to protect yourselves, do yourselves a favor. Go work for someone instead, right? Do your family a favor. Don't put them through this risk. Make sure that they have their own working space. So if you go into the company to do work on their space, in their space, under the new law, you're considered an employee. If they say to you, okay, I don't care, take this work, right? You can go down to the building across from here, there's a Starbucks, or go home and do your work. They can't give you the workspace to do your work. This is a true independent contractor. This is exactly what I'm going through right now. Like I said, right at the beginning, don't get bit by the snake, okay? It's really who you do business with. That person has to have moral character, ethics, right? Remember that word, ethics? They have to have that. And obviously you seem like a very nice person and serious about business, and you're not going to go out and sue your company, your client, right? You're not going to go out and sue them. But not everyone is like you. Not everyone is like you. So if you use their equipment, that's on them, right?
Well,
If
I'm just curious,
you can
what's in it-
continue using their
I'm
equipment.
just curious, what's in it for the people that are making a big fuss about this?
Money.
But they're not getting the money, are they?
Of course they are. Of course they are. So
The state is getting the money.
No, because she gave the example that they didn't take the breaks. You're gonna owe them.
you're going to owe
You're gonna
that
pay the
person
state
becomes the
penalties,
employee.
and then you have to pay the employee.
So you could have hired someone for 5 years.
And what about medical insurance?
There you go. I'll give you an example, right? A client of mine, she had hired a whole bunch of independent contractors, and she was using them to run her business. And the state came in, they did a valuation, and all of those independent contractors, they were considered employees. Each and every one of them. So they asked each and every one of them, did you take breaks? Did you take lunch? Were you forced to work at your desk and eat at your desk? What do you think the person's going to say? Oh yeah, I was. She had to file for bankruptcy. She was sued in excess of $1.3 million. It happens. I'm not making this up. Incorporate, protect yourself, get your own equipment, get a business card, right? Have an office. Now you can have these virtual offices everywhere, the shared space everywhere. So you don't have to go out and buy a building or hire something for $600 a month, right? Exactly, work from somewhere else. Have an independent contractor agreement. You, as the independent contractor, should show up using yours. The projects, right? So do work project based, and then you must invoice them. Must invoice them. And if you, as the person that's hiring someone, if they don't invoice you, you have every right to not pay them. But you can't do that with an employee until they invoice you. Make sure that you put it in this contract that they have to provide you with an invoice either at the end of the month, either at the beginning of the month, or reporting during the month. This is truly how to be an independent contractor and be serious about your business. I do this for entrepreneurs all the time, for sole props all the time. Set up companies for them, draft their agreements for them. They get the business from the big guys.